Hello, Terry. You are the guest this week, and it's about a year since we last spoke, or a little more actually.
Yeah, a little bit more.
And a lot of things have happened since then. And you tell us what did you learn from the 36th America's Cup?
Well, what did we learn from AC 36? And I think we learned a lot of things. I think first and foremost, the post regatta debrief, highlighted areas of improvement. Obviously the one that always stands out the most is the results on the water. And so, areas that we can improve and how to improve, putting ourselves under more race pressure, allowing ourselves better training opportunities with the existing boats that we have, which we'll do. And we've initiated with the purchase of two AC40s for in-house two-boat sailing. And then secondly, a bit more on the business side, setting ourselves up as a more professional or more business-oriented organization. So as we have sponsors and guests come through the program, that we're better suited to accommodate their needs. And really, the things that you learn inside one of these America's Cup teams is that, the sporting side is very small, and yet you need to have all the pieces to the puzzle correct. So if one area of the team is off balance, then the performance on the water suffers. And, I think, so we took the proper amount of time to debrief that and to learn from those mistakes and make sure that we're better for the future.
But it's been a fairly dramatic voyage since then. New York Yacht Club decided to go a different way and sort of cut you out there for a while, and went with the Stars and Stripes team for some time, and then they turned around and said, "Now we're not going to do the 37th America's Cup." And then finally they came back to you. You were persistent. You were still planning to do your project with or without New York Yacht Club, and so you were prepared to take that challenge when it came.
Is there a question?
Well, yes, it is a question, because I'd like you to explain, what did happen. Now, how did you go through all of this?
Well, I can only speak from an American Magic perspective. And at the end of AC 36, our agreement with the club, we fulfilled it outside of winning the regatta. And from there, I think from there we all, took our courses of action, but sitting here today, for AC 37 and AC 38, American Magic is partnered with the New York Yacht Club, and I respect both American Magic and New York for taking their due diligence to do what they thought was in each entity's best interest. And I'm also happy to say that we're back here together. And, having been a member of New York for 28 years, as always, as a sailor, it's a privilege to represent New York and its brand inside the America's Cup. And so, all the other points that you bring up, it's in the past. And so I'm going to leave it there and focus on our partnerships for the future.
Right. So what you are saying is that there's also a commitment not only for this coming America's Cup, but the Cup after that as well.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, which is really good.
Yeah, that gives you some perspective and some time to do long-term.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Your boats are still in New Zealand, I believe, but I also hear that they're on their way back to US.
Everything's in New Zealand right now.
Yeah.
So
Right.
nothing's on a ship to come back to the United States. But our planning will, we're working on our planning right now. We get the venue announcement at the end of March, and but we are a US based team, and I think the vision of Hap and Doug and the principals of our team is to set up a longer term American Magic sailing entity in the United States. And so I think you're going to see over the coming years our team taking those necessary steps to not only promote and support the sport of sailing, but to help grow it as well.
But can we see that there is a two-step rocket here in a way, that the new AC40s are going to be raced in New York or in America for training purposes, and that the other team material will remain in New Zealand if New Zealand is going to be the next venue.
To be determined. You have to realize that an AC40 hasn't touched the water yet, and the first one probably won't touch the water for another 6 or 7 months. And so, I think we have to, first things first, we have to know where the venue is going to be, and from there we'll make our planning decisions, based on what hemisphere it's in, and it's obviously that those drive a lot of those decisions. So until you know, you don't. And obviously we have a northern hemisphere plan and we have a southern hemisphere plan, and we'll action those accordingly.
Today it's anybody's guess where the next America's Cup is going to take place. What is your personal?
I don't waste my time trying to guess. We entered the regatta. We're excited to be a part of it, and when the time's right, the defender's going to let us know where we're going to race. But with a lot of these things, because it's so far out of our control, we can't get consumed by it, because it'll literally drive you mad.
But you have some influence, don't you think?
Nope, I don't think we have any influence. I think the defender is going to do what they think is in their best interest and best interest for the regatta. And but we took the step to enter because we need to be involved in the rules discussion. We need to get in line for the AC40s, and we need to take these necessary steps. And so with that, there's a little bit of risk, but for the most part, that decision is in the sole hands of the defender.
Do you have a preference? Would you prefer to race in New Zealand again, or would you rather see it in Europe or in the Far East?
I'd rather race in the United States.
That's not gonna happen.
So yeah, I do have a preference, but we're not there yet. So we're going to cross that bridge when we cross it.
That would be the 38th Cup.
Yeah, that's right. You smell what I'm cooking.
Yeah.
No, we don't have a preference. We're excited though to be in the event, and I think, as you rightfully pointed out earlier, our journey has been an interesting one. And so to this point, I think I'm incredibly grateful for the continued support of the New York Yacht Club and of Hap Falth and Doug DeVos to allow us another opportunity to have a crack at it.
This means you have to make some changes, and perhaps those changes, other than the new design and everything, it's going to be on the crew side. Can you divulge anything about the crew? Who's going to be the helmsman?
Yeah, well, we know we're going to have 4 cyclists on the boat, so that's going to be exciting. And having been involved in listening to and speaking with some of these athletes, they're incredible athletes. These guys are going to create the power for the boat. Sitting here today, we don't have a big sailing team. We retain the services of Tom Burnham as our coach, Andrew Campbell, Paul Goodison, Lucas Calabresi, Dan Morris, Michael Menninger, and Riley Gibbs. So they're all team members now. And we'll when we get to a spot where we have some 40s and some opportunities to go racing, we'll probably get a clearer picture of who's going to do what on the yacht. But it's a small team right now by design, and because we need to, really the power units of the boat are going to be completely different athletes, and so we have to understand that as well.
Is it fair to say that Paul Goodison looks to be a strong candidate to be the helmsman?
I think it's all to be determined. I think our goal is to put the right guy right people on the wheels and go from there. But obviously, Goody's an incredibly talented sailor. He's been instrumental in helping with the design of the boat in these early days, along with Andrew and the rest of the team. And so, I think if you ask Paul, he'll say whatever I need to do to help us win is what he's going to do. Obviously, he's a great helmsman. He's a great mainsail trimmer. He's a great sailor. So I look forward to watching his leadership and his skills on the yacht develop.
What is your role going to be? I suppose it's not going to be a combination of tactician and bicyclist.
No, no, I think my cycling days, certainly my grinding days, were never in front of us or behind us. So yeah, I mean, right now my official title is the president of sailing operations, and as much as anything, I'm in charge of hiring the sailing and helping to make sure that we're all as integrated as we possibly can be between the sailing team and the design team, and to support the team where I can. So, but like I said before, we're not going to make any real hard decisions until we get further down the road and see how everybody sorts themselves out on the yacht.
How about the design team? Are they going to be the same as for the American Magic?
Nope. We retain the services of Scott Ferguson as design coordinator, and inside of that, there's sitting here today. There's a week-long design team meeting going on right now in Newport. But we also have the services of Britt Ward and Pete Melvin for hull designers, and through both of their firms and through all the work that Scott's done, he's done an incredible job of assembling a group of designers that are not only experienced in the America's Cup, but some young blood as well, which is exciting. And both Pete's offices and Britt's office, it's been fun to get guys that have incredibly successful careers designing boats and fast boats to come and be a part of something under the American Magic brand, not under Far Yacht Design or Melvin and Morelli, but as team members to American Magic. So I watch and listen and learn, and as always, as I was with Marcelino, I'm always impressed by what these guys talk about, because it's a different level, and you can see their genius at work.
I suppose that the mule is not going to be as important part of your program as it was, because that was to learn how to foil a monohull.
Yeah. Well, the AC40s. Yeah, the AC40s will replace the mule. We still have the mule. She's up in Rhode Island, and that's part of our American Magic history. So I'm not sure if she's going to go anywhere, but the AC40s will replace the mule.
You have another challenge, and that is the nationality program, where we were talking about the helmsman candidate before, Paul Goodison, who is British. How do you deal with that? Will he get an American citizenship in time?
He doesn't need to.
No,
the protocol.
Because there is a exemption for the people who have already been on the team.
Yeah, he's already been part of our team, so he's allowed to be part of our team going forward.
Is this going to be a challenge for you? Will you have enough American sailors to fill your team?
It's 325 million people. I'm pretty sure we can pick out a, when you look at the list that I just read out to you, outside of Goody, everybody else is a US citizen. So
you have to build one new boat, and that's all you are allowed to do. And so therefore,
correct.
Therefore the timing of the build of this new boat is very critical.
Yeah.
What is the ideal time before the America's Cup itself is?
Well, as I said earlier, we don't know the venue. So with the venue comes the date. And, one of the things that's unique about this competition, because the Defender is going to compete in the part of the Challenger Selection Series, all the boats will be coming out roughly in the same time. I would expect, though, if you see a June America's Cup, you work back 5 months from there, and you're going to see teams taking delivery of their boats, December, January, to give yourselves enough time to work the boat up, sea trial it, make it reliable, and learn it as fast as you possibly can. It's always a balance. And I think we learned in that in AC36, the Defender didn't take delivery too much after we did of Patriot, and yet their opportunity to develop while the racing was going on, that helped them, and yet Luna Rossa came out pretty strong on the racing side of it. So it's always a balance. Obviously boat speed wins, and but so does reliability and sailor understanding of the yacht. You
think that the configuration of the boat will vary depending on where the races will take place. I mean, if you're
Yes.
in Valencia, it's predominantly light winds, whereas in New Zealand it's heavier air, and if it's in Saltland, there's typically.
It's a great question, and for sure the boats would change from venue to venue. More so if you're sailing in the Med or in Ireland, there's a lot more sea state, where in New Zealand it was reasonably flat water. And so, I think you're going to, you're going to see a different type of boat depending on what you're going to, depending on where the venue is.
It was a very critical thing last time about getting on the foils and a minimum wind speed that was required to run the race. How do you see that? Will the boats be designed to foil more quickly, or will you require a heavier wind limit?
No, they've kept the bottom end wind limit the same, and they've reduced the top end by 2 knots. And so, all the boats will be facing the same issue. The boats have gotten lighter, the foil arms have gotten a little bit longer. So, but it'll be the same type of challenge. Interestingly, in AC 36, the boat with the smallest foils was also the fastest maneuvering boat, and the boat could get out of the water. So that's a combination of a bunch of different things, not just the foils. That's hull, that's aero, and the foil. So, it is always a circular problem, because the bigger the foil, the more the drag. And what you saw in that last regatta was 2 boats that were at opposite ends of the spectrum from a size in their foils, and yet the guy with the smaller foil, over the course of a 13 race regatta, he just got faster and faster and won the regatta. So you're always going to make those decisions of designing what you think is fast, and then learning how to sail it. Without question, you're never going to make a slow foil fast if it's designed in that manner.
Obviously, you have more experience in that field now than you had beforehand, so it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be easier than before. Yeah,
no, I think that's a perfect summary. Because you have a little bit more knowledge, but with some of that knowledge, that's a dangerous thing as well, because you can probably overthink yourself sometimes as well. And in this one, you only get 3 foils, and they have to be the same family. So really, you're going to do a lot of, when you launch your boat with the set of foils that you have underneath it, from there you only have 1 spare, and they all have to be of the same family. So all the regattas being won in the next year.
Right. Well, Terry, you didn't give me a complete answer to what your own role was going to be. So I'm going to rephrase it. Considering your age and your white hair, what is your most...
Have you had a look in the mirror?
Yeah, but I'm not running for the America's Cup.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to do whatever I have to do to help the team to win.
Exactly.
And if that means
what is going to be your most comfortable role? Will you be tempted to be on the boat for the fun and for the experience, or do you realize now that your time has come to manage the thing from the shore?
I think we're incredibly lucky to have a great group of sailors that we've hired, and I'm going to stand by. I'm going to do whatever helps us to win the regatta. On February 14th in 2022, and something's 29 months away. Probably a bit premature to make any hard decisions right now.
Well, Terry, I thank you very much for your comments and your time.
Thank you.
I look forward for a new interview in a year's time and to follow.
Yes, me too. It's great. It's great to see you. Great to see all the wall art on the background there.
Yeah, next time we should have an America's Cup yacht, but that's not going to happen, I suppose.
Yeah.
But good luck with your project, and we'll.
Thank you. It's great to catch up.
Yes, absolutely.
Take care.
Same to you.